And we're live. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
It's a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
And it's on
Everything's
time.
going a little bit nicer
So
tonight. We're on time. Hopefully everything is just, chill.
Yeah, hunky dory. Knock on
We
wood.
appeased the witch from a couple weeks ago. She said she will not harm us this evening, but I've never known a hag that keeps her word completely, so we will see.
That's fair. Scooter says, "Don't jinx it." now,
too late.
the trick is that we actually traded Dallin and his soul for it. So,
Yes.
hey, Richard, welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Richard.
All right.
Give us a shout out if you're in chat. Welcome, Z. And of course, welcome Scott, who likes to watch. that sounds weird. He likes to monitor in the background and join us in, even if he's not. Yeah.
On time, LOL. That's right, but you are correct.
Yes.
We're not only on time, we were a couple minutes early. So that's to make up for the technical issues we had last time. So.
Yep. Hello, Casey. Welcome.
Souls to streams. Well, it's 1-to-1 unless you want to grow really fast. But we don't have enough. If we start expending my soul, Cory's soul, Scott's soul, we'll run out of souls really quick, and nobody will be able to be on the show. So.
I think if you're on YouTube specifically, 1 like is a fourth of a soul as well.
Yes.
You get and then giving us a comment on any of our videos is like half of a soul.
Yes.
And then if you subscribe, that's the full soul. You give us a full soul.
It's true. But if we're putting a dollar amount to it, I think somebody calculated if you were to take the human body and break it down to its molecules and sell each one kind of thing, I think it came out to being like $100. So,
oh wow,
$100 if you want soul, body, and everything, body and soul.
Yeah,
up for grabs.
That's what I think. That's what Bart sold his soul to Milhouse for
right.
in The Simpsons, if I remember that episode correctly. What are we drawing today? That is an excellent question, and I think we want suggestions.
Yes, we are drawing on inspiration.
So if you have any, just feel free to shout them out.
Thanks, Bosco.
And yeah,
thanks for
welcome, Bosco.
Even if you want to lurk, we appreciate it.
For just a moment, yeah.
Rip off. At least it's Fiddle's weight of gold. That's true. It's true. All right.
So I saw something about Tales of Aneria is All of Us, Z. Specifically tonight, yeah, it's Scott. No, I saw something on the D&D Reddit, the meme Reddit. And it was that classic the Ed McMahon meme where he's like leaning back in his chair as more and more stuff like happens and getting more and more excited for it. And it was specifically referencing that it was basically specifically referencing The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Yeah. Right?
Okay.
And then it's like, and the last thing is like the band behind him strikes up and begins to play Roll for Initiative. And I was like, oh, I would love to do an encounter where it literally is just a battle of the bands.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Where you literally are attacking with musical instruments rather than like physical attacks.
So like
Giraffe in a Hat, welcome. Good to see you tonight.
What's up, Dallin? For those who don't know, on Twitch, Giraffe in a Hat is Dallin. So the
called out.
I
remember a time where we only called him Mr. Rogers.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Rogers. Are we still keeping that up?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you haven't seen it, Mr. Rogers actually has a new video on YouTube reviewing one of the recent animes he's been reading called Chainsaw. Was it Chainsaw Man, right?
Chainsaw Man. Yeah.
Go check it out.
The first episode of it. And what my favorite part about it, other than he does really good with the audio, making the chainsaw noises whenever he's talking about having Chainsaw Man stuff. Yes. Battle of the Bands in Terradale. Like absolutely. That. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Do it.
But what I liked about that video the most was how he was talking about how there was only one episode and he wants more. And I'm like, man, we have become a culture that's a little bit more spoiled than usual as far as like streaming shows go, because we do get like 2 or 3 episodes typically of a show to begin with now,
Yeah.
at least, if not the entire season. And so it's not a critique on Dallin being like, oh, I want more. I want more immediately, and be like, oh, you got to be patient or anything like my dad says. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, oh man, what an age we live in.
Right. Back in my day, we had to wait the entire week.
Richard, it's actually called Mr. Rogers Reviews Everything now, which I think is a great name change. But yes, they are very legit, and he does a great job running those.
I'm curious. So I know that we have a lot of viewers outside the United States as well. And I'm curious. Like, I know that Halloween's a big thing here in the States. I've never really considered, is Halloween just something weird and commercialized that we do, or is that something that others like to participate in as well?
While we're waiting for answers, personally, I know England. I have a lot of like YouTubers and streamers that I watch that are in England.
English?
That are English in England, and they dress up for it and celebrate it. So I don't know about.
Right, and I feel like the Disney Channel kind of not popularized, but like it's pretty worldwide, right? And so like a lot of the shows that they had, like Halloween Town, I'm sure there was some of that influence. Or speaking of which, which is the Sanderson sisters.
Yeah,
you seen that?
They're back. I have seen the second one, and I liked it better than the first one.
Did you? I haven't seen it yet.
Yes,
I've been kind of holding off for when my wife and kids and everybody are in the same place. So
I didn't watch the first one growing up. I didn't watch it until I was already a man, and Casey showed it to me, and I was like, yeah, it's fun. It's one of those old like cheesy half-budget movies, but I mean, it had some pretty big names.
Sisters. She was born in it.
Exactly. And so I just didn't really get into the nostalgia of it. But we watched the first one, and then we watched number 2 together, like back to back. And I laughed at the first one just because, you know, it's fun. And then the second one, I was like, wow, they really just improved upon Hocus Pocus.
Did you
I know a lot of people had issues with it.
What's her face? She has her lips like kind of drawn to one side through the whole kind of film, and then when she gets slapped, it moves to the other side for the rest of the film. It's like it's a and I wondered if look at it and you'll see she switches sides, and I wondered if it was like a hex or something.
Huh. Yeah, I wonder what that like. I mean, obviously that's just a comedy bit, right? Yeah. But that's awesome. Yes. He does like your yabos.
Oh, come on.
So this is a wonderful little jack-o'-lantern you're drawing here.
Yeah. We'll start it out light.
Yeah, I think we need some suggestions for something else to draw too. Indeed. So shout them out, people. Let's hear them.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine.
So I asked Scott this last week, and I'm going to ask you as well, and I'll probably ask anybody else that I managed to get on during Halloween. What is your favorite horror-themed monster to run in D&D? Whether it's just like some type of undead or something special. What do you enjoy as far as that goes?
Horror-themed. Good question. I really enjoyed I enjoyed the Eldritch Horror type stuff, right? So I enjoy that kind of really macabre, really like ancient evil type kind of character. But if I'm gonna say like stuff that's in 5e like officially, probably Illithids. I like Illithids a lot because they have a lot of like, you've seen that what was the Elder Brain, you got the what was that dragon, you know what I'm talking about, the one that Illithid. And it like spews out dragon. And like those ones I love those are pretty cool. We have Chainsaw Man, but do we have Lawnmower Man? Headless Horseman Victor.
Yeah, so I'm seeing Headless Horseman Victor right after he decapitated a ghost. Also, I'm seeing again from suggestion from last week, Cory's character in the world of Aneria. and like if I was a player. And I think I might, if you pick that one, I might take the opportunity to have you draw something that I might be pulling out as a player in an upcoming game, just because I'm giggly like that.
Okay.
Lawnmower Man is just Sling Blade.
Sling Blade. Pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Let's put those together. Pumpkin. And then we'll just bloop. Hidden. Okay.
Oh. Down.
Let's do Sophia.
Yeah, the latest episode of Tales of Aneria, Aneria the Shattered Realm, had some really good Victor moments in it, I'll have to say.
That was fun. That was probably the highest damage I've done in any with Victor ever.
Yeah.
So, Sophia, pick a number. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pick a number between 1 and 4. 2. She says 2. Which one's number 2? We got.
Did you even assign any numbers before you asked her to pick?
I was figuring top to bottom, or the first, like as far as a.
So number 2 would be Victor after decapitating a ghost.
Okay. 2.
As far as like if we're doing chronological suggestions here.
Yes, that's what I was going for. All right. Well, what kind of ghost are we doing? Like your kind of sheet ghost? Ooh.
Heat ghost?
Sheet.
Oh, do no sheet. Oh, just do a regular sheet
like
ghost.
A sheet ghost.
No, let's see. Let's get a good Scooby-Doo ghost. Ooh, I wonder if there's a Scooby-Doo villain randomizer. Scooby-Doo villain randomizer. Oh my gosh, there better not be. Yep, Scooby-Doo character generator. Flim Flam. No, I'm trying to see if I can find it. Good ghost here. Oh, it's just gonna give me characters, huh? Villain.
Does Aneria have a Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger type story?
Ooh, I would say as far as let's see.
Have you ever noticed how Casper? Yes. Have you ever noticed how Victor rarely uses Sandman, and how at some point he alluded to the fact early in the game that have you heard of Sandman as kind of a spooky story for intimidation, right? And then later,
never really came up.
It hasn't come out yet, but later you find out that he disassociates sometimes when he thinks about people he's killed in the past. So who knows? Maybe he's Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. I would say that the tale of Sandman is very much like that is definitely a tale that goes around where people are. It's more of a if you don't sleep in like guard rotation when you're on the road, the Sandman will come and get you in your sleep. That is probably a very common tale around an area. You've got the Butcher of Brayvel. That is a typical story that gets told around campfires a lot and kind of acts as a Michael Myers stand-in, the relentless stalker, as it were. I think I need to develop one more. I think there needs to be another tale. I know. Oh, you know what? I might actually already have one. Let me pull that up. Because I do have some folklore on World Anvil, which you can always check out in the description of any of our videos. Let me just pull that up here. Now I want to know what Metallica looks like in an area. They're all Warforged. Yep. Yep, they are all constructs because they're Metallica.
Right.
Let's see. World Encyclopedia. We've got our little folklore section. And I think one of them is the Watcher in the Wilds, which tells of a story of a young boy who gets lost in Bleakwood Forest, and he makes his way back to his family 3 months later, claiming to have followed the steps of a man in a cloak of owl feathers that kept him alive during this time. The man led him to food and water, but never spoke to him and would not even let the boy see his face. When he finally showed the boy the edge of the forest, he stopped the child and finally spoke. He demanded payment from the boy for the care that he received. Having no money, the boy asked what he could offer in exchange. Then, once payment was agreed upon, the boy left and found his home once again. And while his parents are thankful to have their son back, they were terrified of this mysterious man who had taken their child's eyes. Coming some thunder and lightning. And then the other one that would be kind of close would be the Gray Woman. Not really a Michael Myers one. Basically, the Gray Woman. There's a little like limerick that children sing, as it were, and it's beware the woman with graying skin. Her eyes be dead, her stare be bleak. She'll stare until the time you wake. Then she'll have your children within the week. And it's this old tale of seeing her in your dreams, staring at you through the window means that she's going to kidnap your children and take them away from you.
Beep, beep. Don't tell my wife that one. That's one of her irrational fears is people watching her from the window.
My irrational fear
Irrational.
my irrational fear is stepping into a memory ward and then not being let back out.
Oh no. No, you're supposed to be here, sir.
Yeah. Hello, Fia. Welcome. Nice for you to join us.
Welcome.
I believe you know Preston.
Maybe. She's sitting behind me.
Maybe. Do you guys have any yearly Halloween traditions? I have a buddy who did a movie marathon every year. My wife always tries to do 31 days of spookums, watch a horror movie every day. We never meet that goal, and I'm not a particular horror movie fan, so I don't particularly watch even the ones that she does. She's been watching The Puppet Master recently, and those are just kind of terrible. Yep. So I'm getting. So we are going with like a nice little like flowing haired ghost head. I see here with a more skeletal visage. I like it.
Yeah. Figure we'll do like him or her.
Yeah.
Something there. Maybe the mouth's gonna kind of glow. Kind of an unearthly glow. We gotta have some kind of necromantic sigils that brought them into this world.
Wanted to do 12 days of spookums like 12 days of Christmas. Yeah. And I think last year we tried to like get a bunch of horror movies so that we could watch one every day. Typically ones that I'm like, okay, I can stomach these ones without having to worry about it. But I think we watched maybe like one or two. And I know I've already promised her that we need to watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space again. But we haven't quite done that yet.
Maybe we'll give him a Ryuk.
Yep.
Super cool ghost skull. Thank you. Maybe it's a flaming skull ghost, but he decapitates it and realizes that it's actually, what do they call the headless? We fought that one guy.
Oh, the Doulahan.
The Doulahan. It's a Doulahan and a flame skull working together in cahoots.
The Doulahan's like, I don't have a head, but you are just a head. Yes, perfect. What horror games do you play, Fia?
Does play a lot of horror games.
That's I don't like playing them myself. There's too much. I can barely stand playing Minecraft with my headphones on. I get spooked really easily about any time a creeper or a zombie comes up behind me. The evil undead version of Kobold on an ogre. Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Right. That was a
I am so tired after our session yesterday.
Yeah, it was fun.
I can hear them.
All right, I was trying to Scooby-Doo villains tier list. Okay, that kind of looks fun. I mean, I've always wanted to do tier list stuff, but I just haven't. Spookiest ambience in a game I've ever personally played is the original Thief game. Ooh, I've never played that one.
Majora's Mask. I remember playing Majora's Mask for at least the first bit, and it was like I had just gotten home from Blockbuster. Yes, Blockbuster. Renting the game, put it in the N64, and I'm in my room, and my mom's like, "You can't play it until tomorrow," because it was late. I was like, "Okay." So then I go in, I put it in, I close my door, I throw my blanket over the TV, and then put the game in, I turn it on. And like the first 30 minutes, or like that first cut scene, like when it sucks to its face and all that crap, I was scared out of my mind and couldn't sleep the rest of the
night. Yeah. Did you see that there is a show called Blockbuster that's coming out?
I hadn't.
It's about the last Blockbuster, basically. And it's just it's a comedy by the people who did Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Superstore. But it's a show on Netflix, which I find absolutely hilarious, that the show about the last Blockbuster is on the network that basically destroyed him.
Yeah. Produced by Netflix. Oh man.
Yeah. Not only are you dead, but Netflix resurrected you as an undead zombie to do their bidding, and that's got to feel bad.
Seriously. Not only are you gone, but we're making money off of you being gone. So,
yeah. Z says, Blockbuster, LOL, stop pretending you're old, Preston.
Oh, fine. Family Video.
Sorry, yeah. For me, it was Cosmos Video, which was a tiny little store in the town I grew up in. Nice. We didn't go to Blockbuster until later, but we do remember Blockbuster vividly and video stores vividly.
Or their old VHSs.
We are unfortunately old men. So I got a new haircut, and I was looking at it in the mirror, and I'm like, I like the haircut, and it's kind of a change in style. And I'm like, but I kind of look like a middle-aged man. and then my eyes kind of went wide a little bit, because I'm like, oh, no. I am a middle-aged man. Oh dear. When did this happen?
Caught me.
That's funny. Yeah, but actually the show looks pretty funny. It's got did you ever watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I've seen clips, but I didn't watch it myself.
So it's got Amy from that as one of the characters, and then it's got the guy who plays Jimmy Woo in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
He's the main character in it, so yeah.
So Paul Rudd?
No. From the Ant-Man movie. Yeah. Paul Rudd can do anything.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that meme?
No.
Where it was the person who transformed the most in the Marvel movies, and it was showing Paul Rudd and the other guy, because he showed him how to do magic, the whatever, the close-up magic and stuff.
Yeah,
they're fun. All right, so he's got a little bit of face hair.
Yeah,
scribbles faster to get more expressive.
Z says, I want to ask your year of graduation, but that's prying you youngsters. So
yep.
Are you comfortable telling everybody the year you graduated?
College or high school?
High school.
High school's 2005 for me.
2008 for me.
Colby was 1901. Just kidding.
Yes, pretty
Colby,
sure.
Don't kill me.
Yep. I like how you said when you graduated college, like that would be any sort of metric for.
I don't know. It makes it somehow
for how old you are.
I don't know. Now you feel old. It's okay, Spanbot.
That's right. We all get old eventually. I'm realizing that more than most.
Well, I'm on your tail, and one day I'll catch up. Heck yeah. We're in the 1900s.
I thought I read that wrong, and I thought you said that you were 84. And I was like, okay. I mean, you can't really argue that you should feel old at that point. But yeah, I mean,
1900s, yep.
yeah, no, we are. Oh, man, we are boomers. If day or well, and not in the literal sense, but in the we're getting older sense. Eventually, we'll be seen as it. It's all right. My bones ache every morning too. So, what was your favorite like Halloween movie growing up? Because obviously you can't really watch scary movies, but there's plenty of other like I said, Disney Entertainment and other things out there like Halloween Town or the Sanderson Sisters Hocus Pocus. What is that? What was that for you? And of course, whenever I ask a question, feel free to shout out in chat. I'd like to hear your guys' responses as well.
Yeah. Good question.
Richard says he can clearly recall the fall of the Berlin Wall, which is a great sentence to say, in my opinion. That rolled off the tongue really nicely.
That did. That was beautiful.
Hope that makes the rest of you
Scooby-Doo
feel
and
better.
Zombie Island, yeah. The honestly, like I remember Halloween Town. I just remember like sitting down and watching movies with my family. I remember my sister watching it and being terrified of going to the bathroom for like the rest of her life. And then Gremlins, but that's a Christmas movie technically.
Well, I watch that every Christmas.
And I'm trying to honestly what I remember most. Now this is a blast from the past, but Taco Bell. I think it was Taco Bell. And McDonald's. They had, I think it was Taco Bell. They had these straws that had like these googly eye, like floating whatever eyes in like a straw. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Hey, Anthony Cassidy, thank you.
Anthony, thank you. $27, $27.99. Thank you, appreciate it. But yeah, while you're looking that up, my favorite, I was gonna say that my favorite Halloween movie is actually a McDonald's movie. They had those old Ronald McDonald cartoons.
They did.
And there was one of them where they go into like a haunted house and they have to like, work together. And my sister and I watched that not only just for Halloween, just like every couple months we would watch that show. Okay. And that is how I learned to solve a maze.
Oh, let's pull this over here.
Like that's where I was way ahead of the curve on how to like eventually find your way out of a maze and everything. So
okay, so I've found them. I'm trying to get a bigger picture so it's easier to see. But they were the Taco Bell eye straws. So if you just type in Google Taco Bell monster eye straws, and here's a couple of them. But like the straws looked like eyelids. Let's see. Just want the image, please. There we go. Okay, so like these. And honestly, it's weird, but like I remember that, and then going and we do stuff called Halloween cups, and essentially, you take a muffin tin, a muffin sheet, and then you get Grand's rolls, the pliable ones, and you kind of mash them flat and like spread them out, push them in to make like a little cup, and then we take Manwich or like sloppy Joe mix, put it inside, sprinkle some cheese on top, and bake it, and then we just take those when we go like trick or treating and stuff. You just grab and take them out, and it was fun.
But anyway, what does this have to do with your favorite movie?
It has nothing to do with the favorite movie. This is just saying, like, I don't really have like a Halloween. And I was trying to think of this earlier too, because I was talking to Dallin. I was like what gets you in the Halloween spirit? And I'm like, because the people will say like carving pumpkins or other things, and like for me, it's Halloween. It's just like the day of going with my kids to get candy. Like I don't know.
Is
that weird?
There wasn't very much like preamble for my family growing up either. We did pumpkins a couple times. We'd go to like a pumpkin patch, or they had like this pumpkin patch with a corn maze across from it that we did a couple years. Anthony, thanks. Another $27.99. Appreciate it. Appreciate your donations as usual. Sharing that love around, making it so that we can do bigger and better things.
Anthony, what do you want to see next? Have any? Disney preferences. Okay, this is way behind the conversation, but I remember watching The Fall live, watching 9/11 at work. Yeah, I remember that.
No,
Okay, I feel
he
old
says
again.
we don't have to read it.
No.
Oh, he says I don't have to read it. Preston has
okay.
to read it. Sorry.
Got
Go
it.
please.
Goes to find where his walker went. Yeah, I distinctly remember when seeing. I went downstairs. I think it was in junior high school at that point, and seeing that on TV, and I asked my mom what movie it was from, and
Oof.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah. I actually was.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's true.
I was in 6th grade, which makes sense that you would be in high school, or junior high at that time, if we're one graduation year apart. But I remember it basically took over all of the morning cartoons that I would watch before I would go to school.
Yep.
And my mom and I sat there watching them, and then she took me to school, and then like the entire day, that's all we were hearing about.
Yep. I remember that one. Preston can't read. Ouch, Preston. Ouch, what?
Anthony wants a ouch, as in ouch about you asking what movie it was. Yeah. Anthony wants a scarecrow. Your interpretation of a scarecrow from D&D. So,
Deal. I have some ideas.
So like a living scarecrow. And then he also made another donation, which usual. Thank you. Although he's rage quitting now, so what? I don't know.
Don't rage quit. All right, no more sad, depressing things.
Yeah, exactly. This is supposed to be the Halloween season, not
all right. So
Christmas season.
if it's spooky, it's scary, and it's skeletons, it sends shivers down your spine.
Mm-hmm.
What is one of your irrational fears?
Ooh.
Or rational.
So I've talked about the memory ward thing.
Okay.
But I have a pretty big fear of heights. Okay. I do not like heights. And I never have. It's been like every time I go on any sort of ride, it is at any amusement park, it's always kind of an anxiety trip for me. At least some, like, there are some rides where I can handle it. But like things like that, like launch you up into the air, no thank you. I once, when I was about 8 or 9, my brother, his friend were building a tree house, and they went to go grab some more like supplies or whatever, and they left me alone up there, and I needed to get down, but I was terrified of climbing down.
Oh no!
And falling. So I ended up jumping out of the tree house and landing and rolling on the ground. And apparently I landed right next to a board that had some nails sticking out of it that they had left on the ground. But I didn't I got lucky in that situation, but I literally jumped out of a tree to escape being high up in a tree.
Oh man. Scott, I blame you for his fear. Gosh. Yes. So Victor, after decapitating a ghost, which I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out how you decapitate a ghost, but this is my attempt. Well, we can try again another time on ghosts, but yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, Preston, I'm curious how you tie the skeletonless head together with the person on the right. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, you were talking about that.
You're good.
We were getting more lumber to build a ladder. Yeah. Yeah, we had like 2 or 3 posts in there that you would like use as handholds, but I was not willing to wait. Apparently,
not willing to wait 1 second longer. So that reminds me of me and my friends we used to think we were pretty good carpenters, right? AKA like death trap salesmen. And we used to build like our own skate ramps for like skateboards and whatever. And it was always like kind of half done. And we took this like 300-pound, it was a bridge. Essentially what it was built for was to kind of bridge the gap between 2 kind of whatevers. And it was made of wood. And we had this stupid idea that he had these 2 big evergreen, I think they were pine trees in his backyard. And we're like, we should hoist this 300-pound thing 20 feet in the air and make a tree house. Like, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
So we did it, and then what we ended up doing is we took the 2x4s we had weren't long enough because they were only 8 feet, and so we took 2x4s. They're 8 feet long, and we toenailed them together, sitting like this. That was it, and that was what was holding up the thing at the top. And I remember sitting up there, and we were finished, and it like literally we had like jerry rigged this thing. I don't know how we got it up there. We got it up high. It was just muscle power and stupidity. And I just remember sitting at the top, and we're all just like panting and like, man, that was really hard. And all of a sudden we hear this, and I look over at my friend, and then I just see as the world just blurs as it falls. And I'm sitting on top of it, and he's hung by his armpits 20 feet up in the air. I was just
geez.
oh my gosh. And then when I landed, I had this big old like gash and blood all over my chest, and it was fun. So my irrational fear is ceiling fans being turned on all the way. You never know when it's going to come loose and kill you.
Oh yeah,
Final
true.
Destination style. So
when they start speeding up.
Scarecrow.
Do you know the Scarecrow from D&D? So is this a specific
Is there a specific?
or just the D&D monster that you're talking about? Because there is just like in the monsters manual there is a Scarecrow, not a Scorecrow. Scarecrow. And it is very much like a it's kind of a he's got little spindly wicker arms.
Oh yeah, is this is from there's one in spoilers if you haven't played a certain module that has a certain lich in a tomb. But it's a Tomb of Annihilation. There's one in there too. Is that the one you're referring to? The one at the very end? The monster generic. Okay, yeah, I'll have to look it up. I don't. Other than that one, I need to figure out. Nerds rule.
Yep.
That's because I'm a computer nerd. Computer nerds are the best. Yeah, DOS 3.3. We used to have a banner creator on our dot matrix printer that my dad got so mad when he'd come home and I'd printed like a 30-page long banner that said "Welcome home, Dad." But it used like the entire ream of paper, and at the time we didn't really have the money, so yeah, good times.
Oh yeah. I remember you telling that story about how we just got really upset with you when you were wondering why.
Pissed.
And printing stuff off in mass like that is still damn expensive.
Yep. Like if my kids did that with the inkjet printer, I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
Love nerds. Nerds
are a delicious snack. And I say that in more ways than one.
I do. It's true. I do love the nerds. I'm kind of sad that those D&D nerds that we had. For those of you who are on Snack Watch, there's these little. It's Nerds rope essentially is what it is, but they put them in bite-sized chunks.
Oh yeah.
And I can't find them anymore.
We found one the other day.
Did you find them?
Like the clusters,
everywhere.
right?
Yeah, the clusters. I haven't been able to find them recently.
They're very rare. Like I found one at Walmart. I found one at Maverick, but you really do have to hunt for them. And Casey goes absolutely crazy for them.
Oh, they're so
like
good.
she will eat a whole package in one day if
freaking good.
If we don't like hide it.
Okay. Floundering a little bit. Start committing.
So as far as other like fears go, I have a lot of like minor ones. I'm a very cautious person, so I don't like skiing. I don't like the idea of doing like any sort of extreme sports like that because it's like that's a really easy way to break yourself.
Yeah.
I really worry that one day I'm gonna miss a step on the stairs or something and like literally just go break my leg falling down. I actually had a friend of mine, and she was helping her husband up in the attic, and she fell through the rafters, landed on like halfway down the long stairs to their basement, and tumbled down the rest of the stairs and broke her hip. And I know that probably was the fall in addition to the stairs, right. You know, like that was, right. But it was like it's always been like in my mind, like as I'm walking downstairs, especially when I have shoes on. Because typically when I go into my house, I take my shoes off. But when I have shoes on, my feet are still trying to be on steps in their smaller form. And I'm like always worried that I'm going to miss one. We've had plenty of people fall down.
Do I want...
in our house too, which is bad.
In the spirit of, I'm not trying to antagonize you, so if it does, then please tell me to stop.
No, you're fine.
In the spirit of Halloween and creepy stuff,
Mhm.
and a little bit macabre, my grandfather actually fell down the stairs and broke his neck. Like,
Oh no.
and he was out and he passed. And then I knew another guy that was older and
Mhm.
fell down. So like, I think that's a very legitimate fear as far as
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't consider that too irrational.
No, but it's legit. Like, I it's on my stream. Yeah, I've fallen down the stairs multiple times, and to my shame, it's just I'm klutzy when it comes to stairs. Now, in my defense, Thomas the Train is the best laid assassin that I have ever met personally, because he almost did me in, but I got to him. I got my retribution.
And then as you were like laying up at the top, or laying down, he was looking at you, and
With
it
his
was just
eyes.
it was just Thomas saying he had never seen such bullshit before.
Seriously. And to make it worse, it was during. And I don't know you've heard this before, but for everybody else, this was during if you don't know what Extra Life is, I do Extra Life charity streaming, and I've been doing it for the last, I don't know, 10 years or something. And it was during the charity stream, and I'm sitting there, and I went to go get a drink of water. It was like 2 a.m. It was a 24-hour stream. And I stepped on the very top step of our, and it's like, I don't know, 13 stairs down. And I hit Thomas the Train, and I slipped. But I was dressed head to toe in a squirrel outfit. So if I had been damaged, the paramedics would have come in to some crazy guy laying at the bottom of the stairs in a squirrel suit.
What the heck is this?
They come in and be like, "Oh man, I thought it was gonna be weird." Yeah, it is. I agree, Richard. So yeah, it's yeah. Me and stairs don't get along. I also have some pretty nasty or gnarly bros. Did I ever show you that, Cory? I don't know if you're.
I don't remember.
So when I fell down the stairs a long time ago, and I slipped, and I landed on my back, and I had a bruise that was from like the bottom of my shoulder blades to the middle of my calf, or not my calf, my below my butt. And yeah, that was probably the worst pain I've ever experienced. Guarantee you that you all have paramedic furry stories. It's true. They probably do have paramedics or furry stories.
Oh, here's a good question. Back to Halloween. What is your favorite candy to eat on the spookiest day of the year? Now, I am going to abstain from this because I have challenged my players that whoever can bring me my favorite candy besides Scott, because he already knows, gets I'm gonna say it's 2 epic die, because it's got to be a little bit better than just getting the 1 epic die for a session. So they need to kind of figure it out on their own. I will say a runner up for me is Rolos. I love Rolos. They're delicious.
Rolos are delicious. I thought we're supposed to give you a Kit Kat, so you'll give us a break.
Hey Joe, you haven't missed much. We're working on the first art piece right now. We're just talking about Halloween, and then Scott says that he's gonna say Bunch of Crunch, but lately he's been eating a lot of sour gummies, which I don't know why. Sour gummies are not good candy in my opinion.
So to my ever living shame, mine is not necessarily just Halloween, but just in general is Reese's Cups. And to my shame, I have a big 5-gallon bucket that at one point was full and is no longer. So,
but I mean, how long did it take? That's the real question that would bring shame.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, woof.
It was a lot of peanut butter. So yeah, my wife surprised me because I saw it on TikTok, and she came home from Costco, and she's like, "Look what I got you."
Yeah. And I'm not a fan of like peanut butter or any other type of like eating nut. Like it's just no, thank you. And then yeah, so we've got candy corn. People have said, oh, I didn't see this, but going back to your whole squirrel costume thing.
Oh no.
Scott says that he guarantees that all paramedics have a furry story. I didn't see that one.
True.
Reese's peanut butter cups, Snickers or Milky Way. I like Milky Way. Don't like Snickers. Not a big Snickers fan. Turns me into a different person.
Hungry? Grab a Snickers.
Yep.
Back, by the way, run. Personal favorite, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Boss wife says Snickers. Okay. I like it.
Caramel apples, or caramel apple suckers, rather. I
Those
guess
are good.
caramel apples don't really qualify as a candy.
Those are good.
So I don't know if this is just a Utah thing. So I wanted to ask you about it because you have lived out of state.
Huh?
So bobbing for apples is popular as far as like old timey events for Halloween goes. But here we always had
Donuts.
the donut races, where you hang them up on the string and eat them, or trying to eat them as quickly as possible. And of course, being a large man, I am very good at that.
Yeah,
But
delicious.
is that something that you've seen elsewhere, or is this just a Utah thing? And anybody else out of state too?
I've seen
if you
it,
do this, let me know.
But I think it was. I'm trying to remember if it was at a school event. I think I've seen it before, but I think again it's like putting fruit in Jello and casseroles. I feel like is kind of a Utah staple. So it's shrinking.
Okay.
Cory. That's for me.
Oh, that's whenever we make comments about my stomach, my wife and I always go, "It's shrinking," because I'm trying to diet again. It's constantly in flux, but that's
I feel yeah. We're good. That's
no. I've been pretty good this week. Please ignore the fact that I have a candy bar on my desk right now. That is, I've been counting my calories again, and I hope that we can continue that trend. The biggest thing this week is making sure that I do not eat food out, because over the past couple months, because of the surgery and everything, I've been really busy making sure the entire house is clean, the laundry's done, the dishes are done, etc. And it's just been a lot easier. And then on top of that, obviously prepping the show and running it and everything, and normal work. Ugh, gross. So I haven't had a lot of time to really focus on cooking. And so it's always just easier for me to go out and get something.
Yep.
And it's gotten to the point where it's I kind of need to stop if I want to have, money for other things.
Feel that.
Update on Joe's house. He said drywall starts getting hung Tuesday. Moved out of the house and into our travel trailer. Woo woo!
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So here's a fun fact. This is not necessarily anything, and I'm not going to name any names or what have you, but I have a friend that lives down south. The Rose Park area. He bought a house there, and apparently that's a big liquefaction problem. And his house had dropped a foot on one side.
What?
And so then they were like, well, we need to go in and we need to put pylons in. When they put the pylons in, they dig holes in basically in your basement. They dig a hole in the foundation and they go down, and then they put this metal bracket that sits out with this metal piece that kind of puts underneath the foundation itself. And then they run these pylons down until they hit bedrock. Guess how far they had to go before they hit bedrock under his house?
I'm going to go ahead and say 37 feet.
37 feet. Do we have higher or lower? Anyone else? Anyone else?
The Price is Right. Somebody says 1 foot, just in case everybody else went over.
What we got? We'll give it a second because I know it's back 250 feet. Okay.
20 feet.
20 feet. Okay.
250. I really, really hope that it isn't that far down to bedrock.
Drum roll.
But then again, I have played Minecraft.
100 feet, 150 from Scooter, 100 feet from Richard. The rest of the power with Plex Fixers. Good, yeah. Running pecs, it'll be good. All right, so here it is. It was 75 feet to bedrock.
Wow.
Under his house.
Jeez.
There's still stuff there. But what it is,
what sucks is I was gonna say 75, and no, it can't be.
No,
it can't be.
I thought the same thing. I was like, nah, it's got to be 10, 15 feet or something. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But because that used to be a big lake bed area, it's it was bad. So
right past the diamond layer.
Yeah, seriously, exactly. It's right past the diamond.
Well, so now they have the deep dark, right, in Minecraft. So you have to go even further if you want to hit bedrock. They doubled the down axis.
And it's cool. Have you guys seen speaking of creepy guys, there's a prison key. What is it called?
The warden?
The warden. Yes.
Yeah.
Creepy.
The warden's nasty. I love it.
Creepy.
He's a nasty little guy. All right. Do you want to start drawing a scarecrow, or are you?
Yeah, let's do
just touching
Scarecrow
on some
next
things?
because I'll get to this one. I'm just trying. I'm floundering, and let's jump.
You know what? Throw a little bit of fog down at the waist level. Like, give us a good little fog effect, and then you can erase any other lines there, and then you don't have to worry about drawing the rest of it.
It's true.
Cheat. Joe says, most importantly, D&D resumes Thursday night at another player's house. Awesome.
Woo!
Wonderful. That's the rest of the ghost dispersing right there. You got a Victor, looks great, and a fog it out.
Yeah, when we're going to do, we'll do a blur on it too. Gosh,
Thank you for erasing that last smoke line there. It was kind of looking like something it shouldn't have.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Good.
Sir, keep your mind out of the gutter. Let's get it. Okay, save those together. We're going to group them. This is going to be Victor decapitating a ghost.
Anyone ever see Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell had a creeptastic version of the Fae? I have not seen that. I do love me some freaky Fae, though, that's for sure.
Okay, what do we got? Scarecrow D&D. I just want to get an idea to make sure if there's any staple elements from their description. Okay, perfect. I got some ideas. I like this one. Get the square. There it is.
Oh yeah, Preston always has gremlins in the room. That's for sure.
Yes. Yes, I do. I'm infested with gremlins, and that one doesn't have a shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sterling, you want to say hi to the whole world? You running around without a shirt on? Hey. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
I'm streaming, bud. So if you don't want people seeing you without your shirt on, now he's embarrassed.
Come on, and flex. Oh.
Show him your muscles. I mean, he's got barely 2% body fat. I feel like I'm like, man, I wish I had that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass him, but I needed him to know.
Sometimes you have to.
Most awesome.
Yeah, there are some really cool ones. I have I use Procreate when I do draw, and they have some really cool like fog effects, water effects. There's a fire effect that is really awesome on it.
We're gonna do the classic Disney flower bag. For those who aren't familiar, the way that they teach animation is using a flower bag to show movement of weight and how it moves as far as it distributes. And so they use like a pillow or like if you can imagine like that to show like, okay, how does it move and fold, and like how does it walk and all that kind of fun stuff. So, and there's actually a book on my bookshelf called the Animator Survival Kit. So if you're interested in buying basically like the Animator Bible, that's where it's at.
Cool.
The guy who did a lot of like Hanna-Barbera and all that stuff. Disney. Excited to see how the Scarecrow. Yes. We'll see. I'm hoping.
Rule number 1 from the Hanna-Barbera people: always just make sure to reuse your backgrounds.
Yes.
Makes it really easy. You don't have to have a dynamic background. You just have to have it static, kind of rushing by as the party. In fact, did the background even move as they were moving along?
Yeah.
No, it had to.
I think it did. It was basically on a loop like this.
That was the shorthand. Yeah.
All right, deselect. I'm actually gonna tone this down because I feel like this needs to be moodier.
Who is your favorite Scooby-Doo villain? Do you have a favorite ghost or other?
like from a drawing perspective, I like the guy with the underwater like creepy suit, but I honestly don't remember any of
Captain
them.
Cutler.
Yes, the one that's like
Yes.
ghostly and he comes out and he's in that like old like really heavy bubble head scuba suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I honestly
here-
I don't remember the names or anything else. That's the only thing. Like,
Here are the 14 most iconic villains from Scooby-Doo. Where are you? Because, of course, I have to pull up a list, right?
Yeah.
Number 14 is Captain Cutler, who is the diver ghost, basically.
Okay.
All green with the seaweed on him. 13 is the Black Knight. 12 is Redbeard's ghost, which that one feels lazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it's just kind of like, hey, Redbeard, that's kind of like Blackbeard the pirate. We'll just use that. That'll be fine.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. The Ghost Clown, which is that's terrifying. Charlie the Funland Robot.
Funland Robot.
He just looks like a robot. Like the Caveman, which isn't a ghost, but I suppose I guess they do kind of hunt monsters and everything. The Phantom Shadows. The Witch Doctor. The Snow Ghost. Minor 49er is always a good one. The Ghost of Mr. Hyde, which again, like, just taking Mr. Hyde and adding ghost in front of it is yeah.
I mean, come on. Like they were trying to sell merchandise.
Yeah. Number 3 is the Mummy of Ankh-Ha.
Okay.
Number 2 is my favorite, which is Space Kook.
Space Kook.
And that is
okay.
the
one.
astronaut with the skull face
I do
in
remember.
the helmet, who whenever he was on the screen, he had that iconic laugh. Yeah, it was like you know.
Yeah.
And then number 1 is the Creeper, which is just apparently just says it's I was going to make a Weinstein joke, but I forgot the guy's first name.
Jeffrey?
No, that's Epstein.
I don't know.
Although also a creeper. No, it's Harvey. Yes, Harvey. Thank you.
Harvey Weinstein. Yeah.
Yep. Scarecrow plus animate object on garden tools equals plus a near party wipeout level 2 equals an ongoing party meme. Ooh, I love it. Animate objects seems like a spell that would be great at low levels, but is probably pretty terrifying. Yeah, this kind of crouched look for you're, and this isn't a critique. You're giving me fiddlestick vibes here, and I love me some fiddlesticks.
Fiddle me timbers.
Yep.
You smell like burning.
It's just the old school 3.x templates, gargantuan fiendish dire weasel. Yep, you just add something onto it to increase that CR.
Come here. Here, buddy. All right. Ollie says he needs to say hi.
Alrighty.
You say hi, everybody.
Hello, Ollie. Oh,
Say
the
hi.
two poppers.
Okay.
He's a precious boy.
Can you quit scratching my leg? Appreciate it, bud. Come on, go shoot your bow somewhere else.
Oh, is he a ranger too?
Mhm.
Wonderful.
I figure all dogs are rangers.
Yeah. Actually, I was talking with Scott about this, and we think that Dodger is a sorcerer who doesn't realize he's a sorcerer. Because he's only got very few hit points, and then he like collapses or yelps out. Bad constitution, but he still just tries to shoot his bow at everything. And then Shep is a bard because he won't keep quiet during streams or recordings.
I can see that. I can see that.
Although, if you remember, like a couple episodes ago that we recorded, he wouldn't stop like growling or barking. And you might not have been there for that one. Shep wouldn't stop like trying to get everybody's attention, and we couldn't figure out why he was being such a little pest. And the next morning, Scott sends me a message, and he goes, "He didn't have any water last night. I bet you that was it." Question: what breed is the white dog, Westy? Are you talking about the one in our typical videos, Z? Shep he's technically a golden dog, and Scott will have to answer his exact breed. I know he's a poodle mix. Yeah. Yeah, he looks a little white on cameras, but it is golden fur. Because we don't have any other white dogs in the house. He'll answer soon. Hopefully. Yeah, he is getting old. That's why. Thank you, Casey. Of course, she would know. Poodle, Pekingese, and Schnauzer.
Oh, actually.
Do you give multiple episodes of TOA out of a single play session, or do you just play ahead to build up some buffer? We play ahead. I typically try to keep each evening to a single session. The one time that I've thought about splitting it up, it was during when we had the Bronze Battalion game that went rather long and kind of justified the 2 episodes. Yeah, definitely see the Schnauzer there. As far as building the buffer goes, that's why we've kind of switched over to a 3 weeks and then a break week, is so that we can continually have a little bit of extra buffer for when we have times where more people can't show up. So far, we've avoided having to use any of the buffer time that we're building too, which is great. And it allows us to do some other things, which I'm excited to talk about once they come to fruition a little bit more. Yeah. Right now, I am working on a specific short story that I need to get out pretty soon here. Pretty soon. But as far as it goes, you guys just watched session 4 of Tales of Aneria this week. And we recorded session 7 last night. So we're about 3 ahead at this point. We had a West Highlands White Terrier growing up. Looked similar. Yeah, very cute dog. Yeah, I do. I'm the only thing that I'm worried about is us getting so far ahead of the story that on streams we may give something away or we won't remember, and people ask us a specific question about an episode. So I may have to. Well, I mean, I edit the episode, so I have a very clear knowledge of what went on, so I can at least remind people if that happens. Like we had the whole Kit Kat thing came out in this most recent episode. The I lied part, which was great. Mm-hmm. And then we had that episode come out and people liked that moment, and we started talking about it on episode 7. So there's like a 3-week gap before we mention it again. You could adjust as needed and stay 2 episodes ahead for a buffer. I've thought about like limiting as far as the buffer goes, and what we have planned would probably do that. I think I'd want a few more than 2 though, because 2 episodes ahead it's a nice buffer, but I'd rather have like 3 or 4 at the most. I'd rather be like a month ahead as far as that goes. Just because it's one of those things where sometimes and towards the end of the year with Christmas and everything, it can get a little worse with people being like, oh, I can't make it this day, or the holidays kind of interrupt all of that. Yeah. Yep. And yeah, thankfully we haven't had too many issues with editing the episode right after recording. I think we've done that maybe once or twice. No, I think it's just once, where we're like, okay, we have to get this put out so that we can have this finished by this time. And I think that was towards the season finale. We were kind of rushing at the end there because we had to make sure that we had everybody together for the season finale, because Dallin couldn't make it a couple weeks, and then we had one other person gone, I think another week, and it was just getting to the point where it's like, okay, we need to just like take a hit to the buffer, and then because we were taking our break anyway. Are you planning to cover for the holidays? I believe we should be okay for the holidays. So far, I mean, obviously we haven't hit Christmas yet. But with everything going the way it is, we should be okay to make it through the holidays. And then if we need to afterwards, we can bust out a Saturday episode or bust out a side quest episode. Oh, let's blame Dallin. Yeah, no, I don't blame Dallin. Obviously, like he had a lot going on towards the end there, becoming a father again and everything like that, and having a new baby enter life. So it was just one of those things where it was like I had to make sure because I wanted everybody to be there for that final fight, and I felt it would be detrimental. And I feel like one thing that suffered for that, Preston, was actually your storyline, and I apologize for that because we had to kind of include the 8 rings and the fight against old Apex, whatever his name is.
Yeah, no stories.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun.
We had the whole fight against him had to be a little bit like added into the final fight to make sure that everything went okay.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. Fun to face off and make new enemies and reforge old friendships.
Yeah. And yeah, like Scott said in the Twitch chat, once we get far enough ahead, we can do things like one shots or have somebody else GM or do something else special. I've got a few things that I'm like, I definitely want to do this, but there's no time to do it because we are always just like treading water. And at this point, like there's going to come a day where I'm just going to be like, I'm not going to do anything else today. I am just going to edit or do the pre-edits on every single episode that we have and make sure that like the recaps are done. Everything else is just complete for it so that we have like 3 episodes posted and waiting to go kind of thing. And then I can take some time and do other projects that I want to put out. And that's also what the 4th week is for, is us testing other video types that might be fun to do or concepts that might be really interesting to put out. Also, I'd like to work on a couple projects that Scott and I have talked about on a YouTube channel other than Tales of Aneria. That would include like talking about rule stuff and talking about home brewing and things like that. Obviously, like, we're not spreading ourselves to another channel just to spread out. It's more of we want to make sure that like legally there's no like crossover issues or anything like that, and it's a lot easier for monetization or whatever. Yeah, this guy's looking really, really good. I love it.
He's a scythe hand.
Yes, scythe hand.
Scythe hand.
And I do know I want to get some of the group together to play Baldur's Gate 3 when it fully comes out and do like a playthrough of that and throw those episodes out there, because I think that would be really fun for us to play either, and it could be either characters that we've played before and bring them in or other things like that. Also, I've been playing Wildermyth a lot again lately, and that would be a really fun game to throw up on an off week.
That'd be cool. I liked for early release game, despite some of the issues that they were having with like the multiplayer and some of the kind of delays that they've seen in it. I enjoyed the very kind of small amount of the story that there was there.
Yeah.
And so I have high hopes for it. I think it'll be really cool.
Yeah. Richard asked, what are your characters' irrational fears? Since we've already heard the IRL answers.
That's a good question.
Hug fears losing his family. That is one of his biggest fears. Is he's gotten a wonderful family and a bunch of wonderful friends, and he doesn't want to lose any of them. As far as Kes goes, losing his ship is an irrational fear of his. He has no reason to believe that he'll ever, and I don't mean that like it gets destroyed. I mean like actually losing it, like parking it somewhere and not remembering where he parked it. That would be the worst for him.
Like, I don't know where I put it. Oh, I think
this is so cool. It reminds me a little bit of a Tim Burton character. Yeah. Oh yeah, it has that face like the not the professor. Not Oogie Boogie. There's like an older kind of wrinkly character in one of the Tim Burton movies. Oh, it is. It's the one from Corpse Bride, the professor that helps out in Corpse Bride. He looks a little bit like that in the face.
Oh, okay. That's been a while. I have to look at that. Yeah, I guess Tim Burton. Now that you say that, if I'm gonna go to any, and again, it's kind of Christmassy, but like Nightmare Before Christmas, I think for me, if I was to go,
that's
like
a Halloween and a
film,
Christmas
Halloween
movie.
film, that would be a solid one.
Mm-hmm.
Durgan, the death of his brother, Perrin losing his mother and not being able to serve his teacher, Holt never finding their creator.
What about Victor? What is Victor's irrational fear besides losing the broom to his beloved?
Losing his broom. I think being alone. That he doesn't do very well being alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that scares him. And then,
which is funny because when the story started, he was a loner.
Yeah,
he was exiled and on his own, so that must have been a really rough time for him.
And I think that being with the group really kind of brought that out, where it healed him in a way, and and that's what kind of gives him that a bit, or why it became kind of more of an irrational fear. Whereas before, you like someone who's suffered trauma, usually they'll kind of like harden themselves to kind of survive in that condition, kind of thing. And I think if he ever went back, it would be a lot harder for him.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's like you don't know what you lose until you lose it. So campaigns were Aaron and Durgan. Those ones. So Perrin was in the Curse of Strahd game. He's got it. So and the Bronze Battalion was the Durgan. And then if I was going to look at the others, Humongous, the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
He would be. I think he's afraid of people. No, I don't know. What would he be afraid of? I think he's afraid of people perceiving him as small, despite the fact that he is tiny. He's the smallest, littlest hope. So.
Yep.
And then
yes, Casey, that is the one voiced by Alfred.
Yeah,
from Batman Forever.
That's a great question.
Corpse Bride. Yeah,
that's a great question. So Richard Watts, he says, Preston, why is Victor afraid of being alone and afraid of losing meaning, or afraid of losing support and control? I think it's the losing connection. Like that fear of saying, like, so I think most of us here probably have lost someone in our lives, right? And it's that idea that for him, he went from being in the Chrisling, he went from like being like, for him on top of the world, like, wow, I'm like the world's first, like I did this at this young age, and even though it's a fluke, like I still did it. And then from going from that to get out, we never want to see you again. Yeah, for him it was jarring.
For what would probably be seen by most as an overreaction, I would think. That the Apex definitely overreacted in that situation, in my opinion.
Yes.
There. But it's one of those things that, that would be very jarring, of being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm alone now.
Yeah, it's like,
after being surrounded by a support structure your entire life, that was very close. Like the 8 Rings is all like connected.
Yep. So I think that's probably why. So yes, you're right. It's probably support and control. And then Brahm, what would Brahm be afraid of? Also Victor, he's afraid of mimics.
Oh yeah,
because the first time he was, and this is again while we're in the Hall of End Sanctum, the first time he was in Hall of End Sanctum, he touched a chest, and it turned out to be a mimic, and it attacked him. And I think I don't remember if I got bloodied or not from that. But ever since then,
you got attached to it at least, and it was biting at you for sure. I've had a couple characters over the years. Turgan, which is Durgan's brother from the Bronze Battalion, has an irrational fear of water. That was only exacerbated by the incident with the Dagon. That he does not like water. He's a dwarf, and he never learned how to swim. So it kind of is an irrational fear for him, because I think he's been in the water several times and come out of it okay, but he still hates it. And then
does he take baths?
He takes showers and waterfalls like a normal dwarf.
Okay.
Down the trickling caves. And then my first 5th edition character, which was Roland, the paladin, had a deep fear of aberrations after encountering. I think it was just
a gazer.
Was it It was a gazer? Yeah. He encountered a gazer that basically magically feared him, and he broke out of it, but that fear never went away. Like the fear of apparition. So luckily we didn't run into any before he died tragically. But it was definitely one of those things where if he were like to encounter another one, he would have like the shakes, and he would have been very much like, I need to get as far away from here as possible.
Yeah. And I think that I need to defend myself. It's not my... Actually, it was my fault that he died, but I blame Aneria.
Yeah, I do blame Aneria as well. You named your paladin Roland. Bonus points for the mythology reference. I do not know which reference you're talking about. I will take those points, though. A Frankish military leader under Charlemagne. Ooh, is that the one we're talking about here? Because Roland, in this specific case, Roland Greenfields, which, again, it was not my intention to call him something that sounded really close to a pun with rolling green fields, but it happened. He was meant to be a fresh out of the farm adventurer. Like he was literally on his first year of adventuring when he encountered the party, and during his first outing he died.
Yep.
And was brought back, and it changed him and kind of switched him between just being a paladin to being like a cleric and a paladin, partially because we needed extra healing.
Yeah.
I didn't want that to happen again. But then like he had to deal with the whole death curse thing, which was not fun.
And it was kind of fun too, because then it was that intertwining fun between your god and the gears moving, and it was fun. It was poetic.
Yep. And I did. And I say it wasn't fun, but I mean that it wasn't fun for Roland. I had a blast every time that I rolled and lost a maximum hit point every morning because of the death curse.
Yeah, that's nasty. So in case you want to run that with your players, do not make sure none of them are inflicted with it in the event that you introduce it in the first campaign and realize later that it was a really bad idea.
Well, thankfully, like every time I leveled up, I was getting like 8 or 9 more, or whatever, 6 or 7 more, however many for the average. So, and we were leveling up at a good frequency at least at that point, that I wasn't too worried, but I was definitely like seeing that weakness happen. And I was actually like, unfortunately, because we had to, it was a time thing that I couldn't continue with the game. I would have loved to see if that would have killed him eventually, or made him like retire. Really like the Scarecrow. If you have to move on to another drawing, please finish the piece later and send me a picture of it.
No worries. Not a problem.
And we do post all of our art on the Discord as well once it's done, so you can see all the cool sketches that we do there. So this actually reminds me of a character that I created, or a backstory or villain.
Ooh, go for it.
But first, let's see. We've got something from Z here. Cory, put this up in reply. Blah, blah. To be honest, I'm wondering about the relevance of the whole storyline in the Glitterbug universe. It feels like we are just making time until Dallin and Colby are comfortable with their new characters before the real adventure begins. This is not a serious criticism, just an observation of the story / timeline so far. I'm looking forward to seeing what the epic arc looks like. Whew. Okay, yes. So I will freely admit that I went completely overboard with the Hall of End Keep storyline. It was supposed to be 2 episodes at the most. This was literally the arc was literally meant to be just make sure that the new characters got a low stakes adventure to get with the party, right? To make sure that they meshed in with the party. They got a few chances to coordinate, and I just kept coming up with fun ideas that I wanted to put into this dungeon crawl, and it ended up stretching it out. And I have been including little inklings as far as both new characters' backstories go, because I do want to establish that these old dungeons do have more than just loot in them, right? They have old world knowledge. They have knowledge that you might not find anywhere else, including knowledge about, say, Luniro, the moon goddess, or about things from Dallin's or character Aramis's past that we haven't quite talked about yet. Aramis is shrouded in mystery, but yeah. So the Hall of End Sanctum, we just finished it last night. So every episode that we have recorded is Hall of End focused, and it is 7 episodes total. And I do apologize for that. I know this arc is taking a long time. And I don't take it lightly that we've spent so much time in here just for it to be a random event, if that makes sense. So there will be ideas that spring from this arc that will carry on into the greater story. I can guarantee you that. Oh no, you're fine. That's completely fine. I it's something that I do like to talk about, and I do want to make sure that everybody knows that I am aware of it, and that that it is something that it is good to hear people ask about too. Like I'm willing to talk about this kind of stuff.
Well, I'm not. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think it would have been a little bit less. So this latest episode, the party got all of the 3 keystones that they needed to get into the tower, right? And the whole reason why I kind of backtracked and did not really argue with the party in the fact that they wanted to go to the quarry and everything is because I knew that I had basically worked Scott to the bone, getting stuff ready for that particular week, being like, you guys are going to the quarry. I've got this really cool new idea. I'm so sorry that I'm going to do this to you. I'll be down every step of the way while we're making these minis and everything to make sure they get done on time and they look really cool. And then literally that next episode, I did the Skulk Stone thing and you guys diverted directly to the town, and I think I gave Scott this look where I was like, I am so sorry. Like he did all of this stuff, and I had to basically like be like, nope, never mind, we're not doing that. And
yeah, it's like the DM's quandary. Like you're like, okay, and before you there's this large keep and there's all these different things, and inside you open the doors and there's just magic items galore inside, and they're like, oh, that's nice, where's the nearest tavern? And you're like, that way, but in front of you there's this.
Yeah. And it's like, and yeah, your party will literally walk around outside the keep instead of in where they need to go, like it's, yeah. And that's always something you need to be aware of. But the way that we do our show is very much I have to prep for those eventualities if I want to show off cool minis or if I want to have specific creatures ready to go. So it is one of those things where I felt really bad about it, so I didn't complain. And I even tried to push you guys in that direction by having the treasurer be Willie and be like, hey, can you guys not take my keystone and go grab one of the other ones just so I can, I want to make a good first impression. And Victor quickly put the kibosh on that.
Oops.
Sure.
Oops. I don't get to do roguish things very much. And since he was a mimic, I am already, Victor has a vendetta against him. So
that's true. Yep. I forgot that technically a horde mimic is still a mimic to Victor's eyes for sure.
Even if he's friendly to him. Nope.
Yeah, but something like this, because it's been stretched out for a lot longer than intended, it is going to have greater implications to the story as a whole moving forward. And that is something that as a DM I have to prep for and kind of adjust my ideas for. And I always had the idea of it, but it wasn't until I saw how epic this dungeon crawl was being that I was like, I should make this a little bit more prevalent.
Yeah. And Spambot, I finally caught up to you. Yes. Massages for the win. Mm-hmm. So yes, I'm
yes, here. Wonderful little massages. Oh, it feels so good. Yeah, and again, like I'm just rambling because I like to ramble and talk. That's the whole reason I do these streams, is so that I can talk about the process and everything. But I do like there's some fun little tidbits that you guys have completely missed or never really asked about, or they were too subtle to even think about asking about. There were some things with Belladonna that you missed. There were some things with like there's the things with the memories have been kind of teased and hinted at a little bit. So there's certain things in there that are interesting.
All will come to light soon.
Indeed.
One day.
Yep, we're getting a lot more. This art looks awesome. This is absolutely wonderful, Preston. You're doing a great job.
There was what's it called? When spoiler alert, which episode was that? Belladonna had a husband?
Yeah, Eritaxis, yes. Episode 2.
Okay.
I think.
I'm making sure. So if you haven't seen episode 2, close yours. But
we've been talking about episode 4, so I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah. but yeah, like just the whole thing where like her husband's out there like fraternizing with dryads and and like from Victor's perspective, I'm like, okay, like in battle and everything else, like that's honorable and stuff, but like where would he draw the line? Like would he feel like that it's honorable to say something, or like, and I was trying to like battle with it, and then before we know, then we were kind of off to the next thing, but
yeah,
it was just
nobody
like,
said anything.
Oof, like ouch. Do we start trouble? Do we ruin this thing? I don't know.
To be honest, everybody and nobody would have expected her answer as far as Belladonna goes, because it wouldn't have been, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's cheating on me. She's 1,000-year-old dryad, and he's an immortal incubus. Their relationship is probably a little bit less conventional than people might think, and that was always going to be the case for that situation. Is if you guys told him or told Belladonna she was going to be a bit more relaxed about it, then the party probably would have felt comfortable with.
Yeah, well, it was just like, I don't know, like, do you say something? Do you mess it up? I don't know, like, he deserves to know. Justice for Belladonna.
Scott said that he just put the final coat of primer on next week's paint streams, and he cannot wait to show everyone what we're going to paint. It is delightful and horrifying all at the same time. So you guys should tune in. Make sure you tune in next week as well, if you love seeing the kind of creepy little mini that we have developed, or not developed, but that Scott has printed off.
Maybe he can post a close-up of part of it in the community and have people guess and see.
Oh yeah, could be. Yeah, that would be a good idea, Scott. If you want to post a close-up.
See how many people are familiar with the shape. Are you familiar with agile methodology? Yes, I am familiar with agile. Are you referring in software development?
Yeah, Scott is actually more of a system admin, so he doesn't do a lot of development stuff. So I know more about databases than he does, which is interesting, or at least like query running and everything. So
okay, I'm gonna throw in some quick other ones and ambiance, and we'll be off to the races. Cory the DBA.
Yeah, that was kind of the path that I was thinking about going down. Obviously, I haven't been able to work so much on anything other than my typical work. We're short-staffed as everywhere kind of is, but not because of the usual reasons of nobody wants to work. It's because they don't want to hire anybody.
Yep. They want twice the productivity with half the people.
I like that the limbs look like bones. Agreed. But I like to think that they're not bones. I think they look like it, but I think they were designed that way, but they're sticks, you know?
Yeah. That's precisely what it is. So right here, your tibia, I think it's tibia and fibia on the sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I was trying to see is like if it went through and then this stick kind of has like one of those forks.
Oh, yeah.
The knee. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, that is really cool. Anyway, going back to the whole idea and everything, or the thing that I came up with a long time ago. I came up with a character, And in fact, he turned into Artemis in the Broken Spear stuff, Brahm's brother.
Mhm.
But let me pull up the actual, not writings, other tabletop. One shot, no, D&D. Let's see.
Oh, thanks, Spambot.
One shots.
And she Spambot. What do I call the Spambot's wife?
This Benbot wife, boss,
The boss.
Z-boss,
Z-boss.
Z-boss bot.
The boss bot. Thank you. The boss bot.
Completed one shots. What do we got here? Save the princess. Blah blah blah. Dune's draft. Okay, I think this is. Going on mini adventures. I can't find it, but specifically, I had a character that it was a traveling salesman, but they sold constructs.
Okay.
And the first time the party encountered them during this one shot was they encountered his scarecrows that he was making, and that was how he was starting his business. And it was called Malaphoid's magnificent something or other, right? But it was this really cool little idea that I was like, oh yeah, he's selling scarecrows off, and he basically would be putting souls into them or things like that, and that eventually turned into a plot line in the Broken Spear campaign where Artemis was taking people's souls and putting them in soul gems and then putting them in constructs.
With the devils.
Yeah, basically, the devils.
Which Deep Cut is one of our team members. Luniro was a devil who was summoned in a similar fashion.
Yep, she was actually summoned by Artemis as well. He had a lot of interconnectivity between the party members, that's for sure. Let's see. Yeah. Yep, that was Luniro was played by my wife, which the whole reason why the moon goddess is named Lunira is because Preston decided to take that character name and throw it back into a live recording, and I was like, well, that's it. That's good.
All right, it's canon now. Thanks, Casey, for saying okay.
Yep, apparently she's now officially Boss Bot. Good job.
Boss Bot. Perfect.
Oh, I am. Oh, come on. Don't fall asleep for another half an hour, please. Not on stream. Casey says, thank you for making me immortal.
If you wake up, or if you go fall asleep, I have my ways of making sure that doesn't.
Perfect.
How about no?
Perfect.
Okay, let's give him a little bit of a background. We need some spooky background.
Let's see. So, the easy one obviously is a couple dead trees, the trail.
Yeah. Default. Actually, here's where it gets a little hard because the way that I did this and I built it up. So this is in case anybody ever is interested in art and stuff. Because I didn't block this in. Whenever I'm going to do this back here. So I got to be a little more careful with my placement. We'll just go in here and block in some really basic stuff.
When planning your sessions, do you use music to help you stay on theme or prompt ideas? I have done that in the past. I have taken when I've been working on specific things, I'll pull up a similar playlist and listen to it to kind of not really stay on theme or give me ideas, but more to just provide me a little bit of extra focus because it occupies the back half of my brain, right?
Yeah.
That's dealing with hey, maybe I should try this other thing, and it's no, that we're listening to pirate music right now, or we're listening to the sea shanties. That's our that's our comfort music kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel that.
What I like to do to help me prompt ideas is I like to look at art online. There's a whole bunch of good fantasy art and such out there, or just wow, I lost it. Lately I've been using random magic cards. Just kind of I'll just click through a bunch until I find one that kind of gives me the theme and feel I'm looking for, and go, oh yeah, that would work really well as this type of thing or that type of thing.
Right.
In fact, pretty much all of Hall of End Hall of End Keep started out as a design based on random magic cards, and then it evolved over time.
Yeah, and I agree with that as far as process goes. It's I don't know. I feel like for me, it's if you guys haven't figured it out yet, my brain works in movie quotes, music, and memes. So yeah. For a lot of stuff, yeah, it's when at least for inspiration, if it's for writing, if it's for any of that kind of stuff, a lot of times I'll sit down and I'll just like think of something like a feeling that I'm trying to convey with whatever it is. So like if I'm trying to put despair into the players, if I'm trying to give intrigue or whatever, and then I start with that feeling and think, okay, what have I watched that in like popular cinema, whether that be books, whatever else, that evoked that feeling? And that's usually how I build a lot of either stories or like backstories. Because like with backstories, it was like, okay, rogue. I want somebody who's sinister. Who's sinister that I can think of? Okay, Jin from League of Legends. Like, what else can I incorporate there? He's a little bit kind of too psycho, and yeah, go from there.
Yeah.
So, and art.
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
No, I was going to add to that and be like, it's a great way to get inspiration. I know that there are plenty of people out there who kind of roll their eyes when you come up with a character and you're just like, he's just like this character from this thing. And I've done that too, where I've been like, great, we are going to have to make comparisons like that the entire time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm kind of like, no, let people play the way they want. If somebody wants to play something, obviously a character never ends up where it started, right?
Definitely.
Because Victor started out as you had a very like clear bounty hunter in mind for
he
it.
wanted to be very like heartless, like I'll sacrifice you for the job, whatever it takes.
Yeah. And he ended up being a very compassionate, loyal companion with honor as like the main driving factor, which isn't something you see in bounty hunters. Bounty hunters are kind of typically a lot of like they'll do anything to make their mark, that sort of thing. But yeah, so I've pulled back on that and even been like, I've used it as shorthand myself a couple times to describe things, because sometimes it's easier to be like, hey, do you remember this one scene? Yeah, it's kind of like that, kind of.
Exactly. Well,
but I will still put out the effort to describe what happens and then be like, it's like this,
Yeah, like, and especially I think you're absolutely right as far as taking those descriptions, and you sometimes you can only go so far. Like you describe something and you can only describe it so many ways before it becomes kind of inhibitive to the story. And so I think that sometimes it is one of those ones where it's a little bit of a cop out, but just being able to reference something, or like there was a character that was like the little I had a character in Tomb of Annihilation that was like the little firefly guy from Princess and the Frog.
Oh yeah,
that it was like, I started talking like I'm doing these other mannerisms. Someone's like, "Oh, that's like the Princess and the Frog." I was like, "Dang it, they found out like where I was coming, where he came from." But let's see,
every episode or every session that you would start that game, you would have a direct quote from Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't know if anybody else besides maybe your wife, who had probably watched it with you, picked up on it until I started playing. Like the first time you started saying it, I was like, oh, I know exactly where this is from. But typically, if there is a reference in a game, I will just smile and like nod along, because I know what it's like, and I might throw in a joke here or there. But I don't really say, oh, that's this from this, isn't it? Because that kind of interrupts your flavor a little bit, because you're just trying to draw the comparison. You're not trying to make the overt, like, I'm literally just bringing in Jinx from League of Legends because I think she's cool, or something like that.
Totally. while playing with a 3D printer. Just distracted. It's funny. So, and yeah, and Richard, to answer your, or to, I guess, finish the question, when it comes to art, same thing. Like I'll watch, it's from watching different things, like some of the, like the trailers, and or not the trailers, the bumper thing that we did. That one, initially, I actually was trying to do something similar to, if you've ever watched the new Star Trek, at the very end, the credits scene, and you had like everything kind of going in.
Oh, yeah.
But then I was going to mix that with a little bit of like Arcane, where we had the figurines, the mini figurines twisting in space, and they look like these big rock like monuments.
Mm-hmm.
And like have the name of the characters and stuff. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because I had some issues with the program exporting. But yeah, it's
is terrible, because I would have loved to see that universe.
Totally. Well, and you look at any artist. You can't point to an artist within the last 400 years, 500 years that wasn't influenced by somebody else. They always take elements of their master and they incorporate it in, and it's, I think it's the same thing with story writing. You stand on the giants that went before you, and it might not be, I don't try and achieve complete originality, but I do try and put my own brand on it. So like if you ever see Loish, Olloish, she was a big one. I think I've mentioned them before, but like Alphonse Mucha, NC Wyeth, Frank Frazetta, all these different kind of people. So
Loish definitely has a very good, like,
yes,
that is an iconic style for sure. Yeah,
I agree. Music is an inspiration to, and that Kubo is a great movie. Like, and the specific one he's referencing is the very beginning when Kubo is. I loved how quickly I fell into it too, when he starts telling the story and he's like, like, hold your breath or else whatever, our hero might die. And he starts playing and it gets like whatever. And I just love that. So, and I wanted
it was really good.
That feeling when you play
I always love movies where I'm like, this feels like a D&D adventure, and I'm completely here for it. Whether it's Kubo, Guardians of the Galaxy, Clash of the Titans, the remake that they did, very much felt like a friggin' raid group forming to try and take on a Medusa in a lair, kind of thing. And typically, like, a lot of my ideas come from just like random conversations. We always talk about how Scott, like, sometimes it may seem like he gets some really cool ideas and character moments for his characters, and that's simply because he spends the most time talking to me. And he talks to me about his character, and I go, oh, wouldn't this be really cool? And we kind of end up riffing on it, like the whole dragon mark arm thing we were talking about, him getting that feat and kind of going back and forth on ideas for it and everything. But just like, and then there's some times where I'm just like, I know exactly what I want to do with this character, and then the party interacts with them the first time, and I'm like, oh, he's a completely different person because of the party. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and the characterization, they kind of take on a different life. I agree.
I think Scott says he says the favorite soundtrack is from Interstellar. I think mine has to be Lord of the Rings. Howard Shore just managed to make an entire soundtrack that whenever I hear any pieces from it, I'm instantly taken into that realm and just like, oh man, I need to watch that again. And I was watching a video about how movies lately don't have iconic themes to them because they're using just like regular music a lot more, or just very basic like actiony music and stuff. Specifically pointing at Marvel movies. And I was sitting there kind of like frowning a bit because I'm like, there's two specific songs that will instantly make you think of a Marvel movie, and it's the Marvel opening credits and the Avengers theme. Like they have their moments and their themes and everything.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a lack of that in Hollywood movies these days, where it doesn't start out by going bum 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 ba da bum bum, and you're like, oh, I know exactly what we're watching,
Yeah, exactly. Or you do what's his name, Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah,
And those kind of stuff,
Indiana
it's just-
Jones is good.
You hear it.
I think one of the last ones that was done was ba 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 ba, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we're going to a wizarding world. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Bum, 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 bum.
Yep, and you will start humming along to it as well, and it'll get stuck in your head.
In the best way.
Halo theme in the latest episode, and it started playing in my head. Yeah. You know what's funny? Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, that's right. That is another one recently that you start playing the pirate song. The Pirates song. Yeah.
Bum, bum, bada, bum, bum, bada,
Oh,
bum,
yes.
bum, bada, bum.
Rip to Hagrid's character actor. Yeah,
Actor.
that was sad news today.
Indeed. And it was even sadder. Did you see they had that like the event where everybody was together and he's talking, he's like, and hopefully in 50 years, everyone will still be watching and Hagrid will still be there even if I'm not, and everyone's just like,
oh yeah, no, yeah, it's tragic.
He's totally the Hagrid. Like whenever I think of Hagrid when I was reading the books and stuff, he was like the perfect casting for that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the Caribbean? Yeah. So I need to catch up on Twitter. Are we missing anything? There's a lot of chatter there.
No, I think we're good. Z said that this reminds him of Fiddlesticks as well, which if you guys have never seen Fiddlesticks, go check him out. He is one of the best designed characters in League, I think.
So a long time ago,
in the galaxy far away.
Yes, that one. I have a. Let me see if I can find it really fast. I entered into a League of Legends. No, you can't. You guys can't see those. Those are thumbnail photos. Spoilers.
Fiddles.
I made a T-shirt. This was for a League of Legends. This is actually where I'm getting a lot of my background my thought reference. But they had a T-shirt contest on season 1 of League of Legends, and that was my submission. Was Fiddles Taste the Pain, bro?
That's very awesome. I like that a whole lot.
Yeah, so he's inspired by it, so for sure.
There are certain songs, and I don't know if this is the case with you.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain songs that I listen to now, and they take me back to a specific video game moment.
Okay.
And the biggest example is whenever I hear the Footloose song.
Yeah.
I always get taken back to World of Warcraft and running around in Westfall, charging things with my fighter while listening to that song. And
I can feel that, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like kind of the perfect area because it was kind of that country-ish twang to it. And Westfall's very much like a farmland area.
I can see that.
And so anytime, and it was actually fighting the scarecrows there too. So surprising connection. But it's one of those things where like anytime I hear that, I always just think back to that moment.
Yeah, there's a Tool Lateralis, Tool the band. They have a song called Lateralis. Whenever I hear that song, it's I know the pieces fit. And whenever I hear that, I go back to riding my bike 2 miles to my grandmother's house on like across like big like Bangor Highway.
Oh yeah.
Like I went across Bangor Highway and all kinds of places when I was in like 7th grade, all because she had a CD drive in her computer and I had purchased Dune 2000. And I sat with my CD player, skipping the whole way through, of course, because it was a really crappy copy, listening to Tool Lateralis while I was playing that stuff, or like
playing Doom.
Yeah, or Crawling in My Skin always takes me back to Diablo 2, playing Diablo 2.
Ooh, okay.
And running through specifically the Flayer jungle. So yeah, that's good stuff.
I remember watching Scott play Unreal Tournament and getting basically after having an argument with our dad about something, he sat down at his computer, put on his headphones. I could hear him blasting Eminem, and he got like the best match of his life just because he was funneling all of his rage into a match of Unreal Tournament.
Oh man, that was a fun game. That's an old
Yeah.
playing Instagib on whatever, where it's just sniper rifles, and that's good fun.
My wife says when she listens to Nickelback's "All the Right Reasons" album, it reminds her of when she played Ultimate Alliance for Marvel.
Is that on PlayStation 2?
Yeah, Scott, you were so angsty. I think that's the PlayStation 2 one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. Another thing that nobody asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because I can. My wife and I, when we first got married, we went and at Target we scanned a bunch of stuff, right? And unbeknownst to me, she went around and she scanned a bunch of video games, Spider-Man 2, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance for her, right? And so when they bought them, my buddy was like, haha, these are for her. I was like, I didn't put this in the list. Like,
yeah.
But when we got back from Mexico, we both got Montezuma's Revenge, like really bad for like 2-3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
And it was just miserable. But we sat eating crackers for the first like week of our marriage, playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance and fighting over the toilet. So there you go. It's
the perfect way to start a marriage, right? That's how you break it in for good. Yeah, Casey and I played through Ultimate Alliance when we first got together as well, and the voice acting in that is great too. That was
the first time I saw the Marvel. I want to say
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel was in there,
but probably as Miss Marvel or Warbird,
something. Yeah, and I remember that was the first time I saw him, and I didn't know who they were. A couple of poops
love the opening cinematic.
Yes, the couple of the poops together.
I think so. Do you have a specific? Speaking of opening cinematics, do you have a specific favorite opening cinematic for a video game?
Ooh, for a video game. One I'll
also accept any like cinematic trailers.
Yes, 100%.
Because I know
100%. Yes. For trailers, Dragon Age Origins, the Grey Wardens trailer.
Okay.
Hands down,
check that out.
My favorite. As far that one and Destiny 2. Was it Destiny 2? I think it was Destiny 2, where Cade 6, for those who don't know, he's played by Nathan Fillion, and he's sitting there and he's explaining, is like, the tower has been taken over by this big guy named Gaul, blah, 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 and then he's talking to these 3 guardians, and he looks at him and he's like, they've taken our guns, they've taken our money, and most importantly, they've taken all the loot, and then he's like, well, what about the puppy? Or one of the Titans or something says, what about puppies? And later in the film, he continues and he's going on this tirade. And he's like, now you need to get out there and do it for the loot. Do it for this. And the guy's like, for the puppies. And then he throws his lid down and then starts shooting this like massive gun and just running into battle. And they're like, follow that guy.
Yeah.
So good. Cataclysm opening cinematic from Casey.
Yep, that was the first expansion that she experienced that we got to watch. That's
a good one.
Cinematic together on Wrath of the Lich King. Scott says is one of his favorites.
Oh, that one was
not
good.
His favorite, but
that was good.
It is really good.
The Death of Grom Hellscream, or when he fights Manaroth.
Yes,
that one was a really good one.
Absolutely, I think that was. Oh, I think one of my favorites from Warcraft 3 is when Archimonde brings Dalaran up in like the sand, like he does the spell to make it a sand version of it, and then just like destroys the towers by squeezing them. So good. Yeah, I think that might be one of my favorites. I'm trying to think of any other ones that kind of beat that out, but you know what's actually Elder Scrolls Online has some really good cinematics. If you haven't seen them, they just had the one where the group is fighting against one of it's like this heavily armored knight from they're not called the Britons, but the race that starts, the human race that starts with a B, that's like magic resistant.
The red coats are coming.
Yeah. But they're fighting against this like champion knight, and it's this whole group against just him on this rooftop, and it is such a good fight scene. Like, that's holy crap. League of Legends always does really good with their cinematics too.
Yes. Yes.
Especially their music video ones. I really like those ones. Did you see all their stuff for the Star Guardian event?
Worlds, yeah, Star Guardian.
Yep.
So good. Yeah, they do. I think that from a I'm expecting good things. Like speaking of League of Legends, but like Arcane when they come out with the new or the next season, I have high hopes for that.
Mm-hmm. Scott, are you referring to the StarCraft cinematic where they're talking about Zerglings, or or like, because there are a few different like opening cinematics depending on what version of the game you buy and where you start, right?
It's about time. Yeah, that was a good one.
Did you see the Warriors cover they put together for
the
Worlds?
Warriors. That
Yes.
was Imagine
Mhm.
Dragons. Yes.
Yep. That one was amazing. I really liked Lux's part in that, and obviously the Caitlyn and Vi part in that was really good too.
Yeah.
That's a Zerglin, Lester, a smaller type of Zerg. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other like cinematics that I've watched that kind of evoke. And I obviously like I'm a really big Blizzard fanboy, so it's really easy for me just to be like, the original World of Warcraft cinematic was awesome, and all of their cinematics that they've done have been really cool and blah blah blah. But yeah,
Yeah.
they wouldn't be this far out unless oh shit. Yep, that's such a good one. There's also a really good one in StarCraft 2 where Artanis is fighting against a corrupted Zeratul. He basically he's gotten his mind taken over by the Zelnaga, or at least like the hybrids, and they're kind of, oh no, sorry, it's Zeratul versus Artanis who's gotten his mind taken over, and they're fighting, and Zeratul has to sever Artanis's like neck or hair tendrils that is giving him like the psychic connection to the Zelnaga, and that is a really cool fight scene. Brood War is good too. Where's the air support? That's right, yeah, and then just points straight up while he's rocking back and forth. People are liking the coloration on the Scarecrow, looking really good.
Thanks. It's more creepy vibes to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a quick coloring, but
Do you so you had the one eye glowing there, and that looked, I personally think that the one eye looks cool on its own, but like if you just leave one of them blank, almost like it's got, yeah. What do people think of that? I think it looks great, but that's just me. Let's see. I'm trying to think. There's some other good. One of the good trends that people have been doing lately is they've been doing like anime openings for their games. Like I know Hades had its style that it did. There was one that I got. It's called Murder by Numbers, and it's just like a puzzle game, but they have like a full anime opening that plays every time you start that game up, and it's really fun. I like it. Thumbs up from the boss for the one pupil.
Genshin Impact. That's another one that I think I wasn't expecting Genshin Impact. Like I downloaded the game on my phone. I'm like, oh, this seems interesting. Man, this is taking forever to download. And then that opening cinematic when you first start playing the game, I was just like, oh wow, like this is really high quality. Like,
the quality.
Yes, the green is fear toxin.
Indeed.
Your fear.
The Overwatch cinematics have been. I don't think there's one that I haven't really that I've not enjoyed. The latest one that they came out with for their new character, Kiriko, is like
these people
11 minutes long
under my protection.
Yeah, so good. And I was like, this is right up Preston's alley. This is a character that definitely is your aesthetic,
Flowers.
right? Mm-hmm.
There she is. Except for less socially awkward and probably more mature.
Yeah. I actually I've been noticing the trend lately, and I'm happy with it because I do love me a strong female character. But all of the new characters that I've been seeing coming out for games and such the bulk of them have been women. and it's just because it's like it's one of the easiest like character demographics to hit, right? Because guys will like it for the cool character design, girls will like it because it's a strong female character, you know. So like with the Overwatch, their 3 characters that they came out with are all female. It's all like you know, you got your Junker Queen, you got your Kiriko, and you've got your Sojourn. Yeah. We need to go back to Terradel. Yeah, I agree. We do. Richard, good night.
Hey, Richard.
No worries about co-opting the feed. We're happy to have you chatting. Have a good weekend to you too. And it is in fact 9:00, my friends.
You are correct. So,
This is looking really wonderful, and I'm hoping that you continue it even after the stream is over.
yeah, well, I'll tinker with it and then post the final result in the Discord. So if you want to check it out, you know where to get it. The link is not in the description, maybe, possibly. I think I put it in there. Double check.
Yep, we have the Discord in the description.
Perfect.
Yep.
And thank you again, Scooter, for scheduling.
Yeah,
it for
thanks. Yep, and hanging around and kind of watching the chat for any potential bots going on. We only had one, but he was already he's an actual bot, not a fake bot. Patrick, thanks for joining us.
Hey, bots are people too. Ask Bolt.
Yes, bots are people too. Doesn't matter if they don't have a butthole. Casey, thanks for joining. Z-Spam, thank you.
Yes.
Everybody who joined tonight, Anthony. Yeah, you guys are all great. We love hanging out with you every week. Next week will be a paint stream, and Scott has something very special for everyone, and I'm very excited to show it off. Yes. And don't forget to check us out next Wednesday for episode 5, which promises to be one of the craziest episodes that we have ever had in Tales of Aneria, from season 1 or 2. So do not miss it. It is great. Yeah, it's delightful.
I was going to play Leroy Jenkins, but I decided not to. So, but yes, it is very appropriate. So,
yes, it is off the rails, as it were.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
See ya.